Hello. We will start our second day of webinar. Well, today we will talk about iRidium server for KNX integrator. And I hope you have a good sound and good presentation. Please text plus to our chat that all is okay. Thank you. Thank you. And today we'll discuss about server. Yesterday it was about visualization system. Well, and if you have any questions about the webinar that took place yesterday, please write them to the chat and we will discuss it. Maybe you have some questions about visualization system, about licensing system, about some functions. Please feel free, text it in our chat. Okay, and again, we have some rules. The first rule, please write question along the way and answers will be given at the end of each block. Today we have just 3 blocks. It's not a big webinar, but again, duration of the webinar is about 1 hour. The webinar will be recorded, of course, and you will have a link after these webinars to your mail with the records on YouTube channel. And of course, if you have some question, please contact us to contact at iridiummobile.ru. Okay, and it was the last slide yesterday. Why do you need a server in the installation? It's a simple question. And again, I want to show you our website. And of course, you can check it here, solution for KNX. And here we have a section about it, KNX integration server. And what is the reason why I should use integration server, the server in my installation? And here we have some topics about it. And today we will discuss about each topics in this list. Okay, and the first topic here will be about what iRidium server are, ways to connect to KNX, installing a server on your PC, and project setup in ETS. And the first question is what iRidium servers are. Well, again, I just will use our documentation site. You can check it, support, wiki documentation. And here we have a section about iRidium server. You can always use it for your questions, for things. iRidium Pro, iRidium server. And here we have hardware platform for iRidium server. The iRidium server is software, always software. It's just application for some platform. And it can be used on some hardware platform, but actually you can use it on your PC or even on your Windows PC or Linux PC. All of this is possible. But one very important thing, the iRidium server can be used on virtualization platform. I mean, you can't use virtualization for iRidium server. Unfortunately, it's always some limitation about our licensing system. And of course, we have some plans about it, but last 2 years we had these plans, but do nothing with it. Sorry, but our position in this case, we always use a real equipment. Well, what about hardware platform? iRidium server UMC. UMC is a softwareization on iRidium server on uncontroller by UMC technology. And it looks like DIN rail nice with the black. Here we have some photo for it, like this. This is iRidium server UMC with some processor with a 1 gigahertz, with a RAM, with some functions, with interface. And interfaces, it's a real point for focused why we should use some real hardware in installation. Because if you want to use your server just for connecting to exist KNX installation, like with a real KNX router, IP router, and you have a lot different different protocols with the IP level, it's okay. You can use your notepads, you can use your PC for server. But if you have a KNX installation and you haven't KNX IP router, well, you can use a iRidium server because we have KNX TP1 interface, and it means that you can use it to connect it to two-wire bus, to KNX bus. And here we have RS 485 port for Modbus or HDL Bus Pro, and you can use it to connect to real equipment without IP level. The next thing in our hardware platform, it's about UMC technology. 25 control panels simultaneously can be connected to this server, and more than 10,000 tags of iRidium server. But of course, if we talk about KNX installation only, the good level for tags, it looks like 2,000, 3,000, not more. Because for KNX, it's enough for installation. But if we talk about virtual tags, of course, it can be more. The next thing is about iRidium server RPI. I think you know about RPI platform, Raspberry Pi, and we work with RPI 3, model B and B+, and you can use it on your installation if you have a small installation, for example, like some flat or small house. And Raspberry Pi actually has the same functionality. Of course, here we have a little bit less some criteria, but actually it's the same way. But Raspberry Pi has some limitation with the SD card, because it's a main problem with Raspberry Pi, because SD card, it's not so reliable, and actually it's 1 year. If you have some operation with database, etc., I think it's not just 1 year and it's all. If you have a server without database, it's okay. It can be works. I don't know. Maybe we have examples with 4 years, and it's okay. But I don't know how it will be in the future. And the next thing about Raspberry, and in UMC server, we have MMC card. It means that this card inside our PCB, and it's more reliable than SD card. The next things for Raspberry Pi, it's about some, how to say it, so filling with a power supply. I mean, if you have some problem with your power, the Raspberry Pi can be rebooted or can be I don't know, freeze it. But UMC server has more reliable platform for these cases, and actually it's more reliable than Raspberry Pi. And about Raspberry Pi 4, it's a new version of platform, but we can't recommend it this platform for your iRidium server, because Raspberry Pi 4, it's more hot. I mean, it has a problem with the temperature level, and actually it can be used on DIN rail. It always can be used not only with a good box with a good maybe fan, maybe or radiator. And actually for automation system, we prefer to use Raspberry Pi 3. Well, the next thing, if you have a middle projects, of course it was about small projects or middle projects for UMC server. If you have a middle project, you can use iRidium server NUC. What is it? NUC, it's an Intel NUC platform. It's a PC, but with a small size. It has some line with without fan. It means that a passive radiator mode, and actually it's very reliable because it's more powerful and reliable too. And as I know, the last 4 years we haven't any incidents with a NUC platform, and actually you can use it on your installation. It was about middle or large installation, and of course, if you have a big installation like a multi-apartment building or hotel, of course, in this case, you should use some good platform like a PC level with a Core i3 and with a lot of memory, etc. All of this possible with iRidium server. Well, it was about what iRidium server are. The next thing is about ways to connect to KNX. And again, yesterday we talked with you about our documentation, and we have documentation for KNX. And here, if we talk about only visualization, we should use KNX IP, of course, because our iPad haven't any interfaces to KNX. But if you have a server, for example, if you have a Windows server, of course, you will use KNX IP level. But if you have a UMC server with a KNX TP1, in this case, you can use KNX serial. Or if you have a Raspberry Pi with an extension board like a K-Berry Wenzel, in this case, you can use special driver for Wenzel K-Berry. Okay, I think it's clear. The next question is installing a server on a PC. As I said, yesterday, we just installed application, our setup, and by default, this setup has the server. It looks like the server. Oh, sorry, just a moment, just show you my computer. One moment. Okay, and actually on my work, I have again the server. Okay, we can use it from our studio. The studio has a project from yesterday, and here we have an emulator for server. I mean, when you have a setup for the server, it means that you have a server inside your PC. It's all. Not anything with settings, not any additional steps. Just if you have the studio on your PC, you have a server. But if you want to use the server on the computer without studio, of course you can use our section download. And here we have software package. As you can see, here we have iRidium server for Raspberry Pi, for iRidium server on UMC only, or iRidium server for Windows 7, 8, and 10, or we have a special section more setup, and in more setup we have another version, server side, like PC, like a Linux machine, etc. All of this possible here. Okay, and now we will, and one point about project setup in ETS. Yesterday, I just said about it, but I want to show you how it looks like in ETS. In ETS, I can use some project. Okay, and here I have some group addresses, and as you can see, oh, sorry. Okay, as you can see here, I have some addresses with real equipment, and as you can see, we have some flags here. And I have flag here like read. It means that this group addresses will be pulled, will be updated for status for these addresses in our installation when KNX driver will be started. I think it's clear. Okay, and now we have finished with the first step. And if you have some question, please text it in our web chat, and I will follow the next step. But if you have some question, please free to text it. Okay, the next thing is about creating a server project from scratch. And of course, yesterday it was about visualization project, and now we can make a new server project. How we can do this? File, new server project, and it's all very simple. And now we have a server project. How it looks like? Okay, the first thing it's about driver tree. Again, here we have virtual commands and feedbacks. This looks like a virtual variable, and we can add some drivers. We can add a lot of different drivers here. And of course, we can use our ETS import. Here we have special section, imported data, and import some KNX project here. It looks like it was yesterday with a smart import, with some driver, with the same settings, and okay. And now I have different, I think it's clear. But of course, if you have some visualization, it's not so good idea to use it here, because you should use some real objects like buttons, like this. Like a button with some feedbacks, with some commands, and of course I have here drag and drop, etc. But here it will be just a logic part, and of course we can use some synchronization part. I just delete this project, and now I will make some transformation for our visualization project. As you can see now, I have a driver KNX IP here. Of course, I can add another driver like I don't know, Untitled. I have two drivers here, and now I want to make a new server project from the panel project. Well, just right-click and create server project. You know, it's look like a magic. For now, on our server, I have the same drivers in our project, but in our panel project, for now, I have only one driver. It means the driver iRidium server. And inside, I have another drivers. What it means and how you can use it in your project. When you have a KNX driver on your panel, it means that each panel will be connected with one isolated tunnel to your router. Well, what it means, I have my phone, I just start run the application, and in this case, will be connected to the KNX bus, and I will pull all group addresses in this bus for feedbacks, and it means we have some storm for overloading for this bus. But next panel will be connected again with the same functions, and of course our KNX bus always will be overloaded. But if you have a server, in this case, all panels will be connected to the server on start, and will have all statuses from the server, but server will has only one connection to your KNX bus, and it's all. It's very good solution for big installation, for middle installation, when you have a lot of different panels, some functions, etc. It's very good, very reliable, and it's fast way to make it with good, because our server and your panel have a connection via IP level with a very fast, I mean Wi-Fi and LAN, it will be very fast. But if we have some connection to the KNX bus, it's always with a low speed, because all telegrams should be transferred from the IP, to the IP level, and actually it's a very low speed. Okay, it was about how we can make a new project from the panel. But of course, again, if we talk about Windows machine, of course KNX IP router will be used protocol UDP. It looks like a KNX IP router. But if I have a UMC server, in this case, I can use serial. Just change it, and it's all. For now, all commands will be sent to the bus directly without IP level. It's a more reliable and fast way to use it in real equipment, in real installation. And one more thing about UMC server. The UMC server, it's a full functionality devices, and you can use it for ETS firmware update, for ETS loading some firmware, for monitoring, for, I don't know, a lot of different. I mean, you can use UMC server without IP KNX router. I think it's clear. Okay, and it was a short block here about this question, and I know that we have some questions here. Is there already exist a KNX IP router in an installation, and then we want to install a server? Do we have to be careful of any conflict? No, I think it will be without any conflict for KNX. I'm sure that without any conflict, because it will be absolutely works with the KNX IP level, or it can be works with the KNX bus. If I understand well, we don't need some hardware on field if we have a BMS system inside the project. What do you mean about BMS system inside the project? Please describe your question, because I can't understand it. In a resident building, is it possible to have a server in each apartment? Yes, of course it can be used, but the main, and it was a question about licenses system. One server is one license. It should be clear for all projects. I mean, if you have some license, it can be big license like Enterprise Plus with a lot of different drivers, but one server, it means that one license. And okay, we have a lot of projects, really a lot, here in Russia and in the Europe, when we use, so for example, 3, 5, 6, 7, in Russia we have a project with 200 pieces of servers for each apartment, and we have one big server for management company. And in this case, all servers can be connected to the central server to notify about some alarms and it can be used for communication between management company and housekeepers, and all of this possible with this system. Okay, when creating a server project out of a panel project, will all the comments and feedback automatically be linked to the virtual server comments and feedbacks? Sure, I just show you how it will be. As you can see now, in our panel project, we have some virtual feedbacks. And in our server projects, we have the same virtual automatically. For now, you can use these feedbacks in all panels, and it will be synchronized automatically. Building management system like IBB or Siemens system for project up to 5,000 meters. Okay, let's again about the project. If I understand well, we don't need some hardware on field. Why? Why you don't need some hardware? But what will be about some relays, about some I don't know, some ventilation system. Of course, you will have some KNX hardware inside and on field. And if you mean that BAOS system like a Siemens has some KNX IP router inside, because Siemens has controllers for BMS system with the KNX IP level. In this case, of course, you can use visualization, which can be connected to this level through Siemens hardware. But if you haven't it, of course, you should use some server inside. Sorry, but I can't understand. Again, please, if you can, please describe this question in more details. Maybe what is the question? What do you think about? What is the reason? What is the problem can be used in this case? Okay, just we will follow the next slide. Tools for KNX, and very cool functions about what is the server. The first function about storing data in a database on a server. Well, you can use a database inside our server. Of course, if you have a UMC server or Raspberry Pi, in this case you have not so much the memory inside. I mean, the flash memory, it's not so big. And I think you will be surprised when your memory will be ended, will be finished. But of course, you can use some simple cases for this, for trends. Why we should use some data, just for trends. And we have documentation for this case. Of course, again, here, server, and work with database, and with the system database, with the trends, and of course, we can use it for trends. We can use some, we can store some history data in our server project. For example, data about temperature history, about some, I don't know, for motor statuses, for something like this. And after that, we can use it for visualization, some trends on the panel. It can be used on real graphical part, and you can use it. And it's very simple inside Studio, because you can use feedbacks. And here we have a store in DB, and here you can check it. We have 3 different types of data: the signed, float, and string. Of course, the more, I mean, for small database, you should use signed, because it's just an integer value, like a temperature, like I don't know, like a statuses. If you want to use some special accuracy, it's about float, and for some notify system, for example, it can be string. But again, for UMC server, for Raspberry Pi, you have some limitation with a place, with a free place space. But on your Windows machine or Linux machine, on your PC, with the real hardware, with the real SSD disk or HDD disk, of course, you can use this database with a good level. And if you want to make some real big installation, we have it. You can use ODBC database. It means it's like connector. It works only on Windows machine, and you can use this ODBC driver to connect to real big third-party databases like Oracle, like Microsoft SQL, like I don't know, MariaDB or MySQL, etc. All of this possible with the ODBC driver, and in this case, you can make a very big installation, very big historical data. All of this possible with this driver. Okay. The next things about server and trends again. If we store the data with some things, we have for SIGINT, we have a DB safe strategy, and we have two strategies like a deadband and interval. What it means? If I have a deadband, for example, for temperature, I can use, okay, store the data only when the temperature will be changed for 1 degree, and it's all Celsius, for example. Or I can store it like an interval, like each hour, please store the data about this tag to the database. And it will be, of course, it will be different, different trends for each of them. Okay, about trends, I showed you some documentation, all of this here. And next things about schedule. Oh, the schedule, it's very cool things about server. And I know that our schedules, it's very powerful. What is it? The schedule, it's some event with a start and finish. It means that you can make some schedule, for example, working time, which can be started at the morning and ended in the evening. And actually, it's more powerful than timer, because a lot of products in automation system has the timer only. It means that, okay, I have a morning and just start some case. But here we have a very powerful, very flexible solution for start and finish. And of course, about some repeat system. I mean, you can make some every day, every week, every month, every year, or make it like a custom and make it by days, by weeks, with some days, etc. All of this possible for event. But it's just an event. It's not about logical part. It's just like a signal. Okay, guys, for now we have a start for some event. But of course, the logical part can be used in routine. In routine, we can use a logical part. What it means? The routine, it's a very simple logical thing about when, then, but only if. For example, when the schedule event 1 start, please then send some value or send text, data, token, etc. value to KNX IP, for example, relay, and that's all. Very simple things. For example, but only if I have some virtual tag, for example, but only if a feedback in virtual, for example, I don't know, menu equals 1. Or I can use the schedule, I can use a feedback, for example, when a driver KNX wrote some feedback, for example, relay status will be equal 1, then make something. Very simple without programming, with just algorithm without programming. Okay, and actually you can use a routine for very difficult functions for gating. I mean, you can use when, for example, feedback from KNX IP router started, then this one, for example, then I can translate this value, for example, to Domintel driver to some command. It's very easy, but only if, for example, some feedback from this driver, or for example, some system tokens, less, some equal, some things. Okay, but it's not so fast way. For fast way, for routines, we have an interesting function like block diagrams, like a scheme. What it means scheme? If you are engineer from automation system, we have a lot of different FBD, functional block diagram, and we can make new template, and here I can use it just, okay, I have some temperature, tag temperature, and I can add, for example, to this case, I can add some value. For example, if I have in KNX level some temperature, I want to increase this value with a 2 and send it, for example, to Domintel. Okay, to Domintel device. Domintel device feedback. Oh, the feedback, no, to comment, and it's all. And of course, we have two strategies here. One strategy, it's about when it will be started. It will be started when on tag changes. When this tag will be changed, in this case, we will have this scheme. Or I can make it by interval. Each things will be by interval, will be run with this template. Okay, it was the next step, but again, I think it's not so easy. Again, it's complicated. How we can use it the simple way? For example, I want to check some feedback to Domintel command. I just drag and drop. Oh, sorry, not here. Drag and drop to again. Drag and drop here. Drag and drop. What it means? Just move. Oh no, again. Another way from this command to the feedback. Что ж такое-то? Так, one moment. Command. I can send some feedback forward value to, and I can check and driver KNX IP, for example, and make it to send to command to KNX IP, and it's all. Or I can make it with like this, just drag and drop again. Oh yeah, sorry. It was a drag and drop, not on this name, but this name. Sorry for my mistakes. Okay, it's a simple way to translate some feedback to some comments, or some feedback to some comments. All of this possible here. Okay, and it's all about this section, about storing data on database, about trends, schedules, routines, functional block diagrams, and data gateway. But I have an insider's information for you. If you want to make some, if you want to edit some schedule and routine for end user, for now you can use our documentation. We have it here, i3 Pro best practice. And here we have a simple, if we have some example for that, and we can use it. One moment. We can use it, or I have some problem with my internet. Very strange. Okay, we have an example for edit for this routine, but it's not so easy. It's very complicated because you should use a GS script. As you said, we not use GS script in real equipment. We can make all of this without GS. But unfortunately, if you want to make a function to edit some routines on the panel for end user, it's not possible with an editor. It's possible only with a GS script. But I have information for you, because for now we have a tests with the new functions here. If you know about our product i3 Lite, maybe you can do you use it? Did you use it? I don't know. But now we have for i3 Pro native function to edit the routine and schedule. For now, it looks like a gray design because it's just for test. But here, as you can see, the same way, do, but only if, and this case, for example, for KNX driver, you have token 1, but here you can use any names for end user. I mean, you can just check it. Okay, just send, turn on the light, and end user can disable this action, can check the volume, for example, etc. All of this will be possible as a native component and will be available on the end of this year, I hope. For now, we are in testing process. I hope it was valuable for you. Okay, and now we have finished for this slide, and we have some questions. Okay, is it possible to connect an NTP server to iRidium server for time-scheduled events? Sorry, but NTP server is just NTP. I mean, just a server about accuracy for time. And of course, the server has a clock inside, and actually, it's not needed. It doesn't need it for our server. Maybe you can describe it in more detail. Another question is, in a resident building for 56 apartment, is it possible to have just one server and manage the users in each apartment to control the apartment and not the whole installation? I mean, to have a GUI for each apartment. Actually, yes, but how would say, it's not secure. It's the first thing, because actually your KNX installation should be in common network. I mean, all apartments should be connected to the one network. I think it's not a good idea. I'm sure that it's not a good idea. Or you can use KNX IP servers. I don't know. I think it's not a good idea, because the best way is to use, for example, some server. Maybe it will be like a Raspberry Pi server in each apartment, and it will be connected to the central server, as I said earlier. But in this case, I think it's not so good idea. But if you have some functional requirements, please free to contact with us about this case, and maybe we can think about it and make some technical solution for this case. Maybe we will have some cool solution for that. Okay, no question any. The last slide here, it's about this case, cloud-based remote connection, control, voice control, license and sharing the project, GS, and some questions about other products and documentation. Well, cloud-based remote control. Yesterday, I shared with you the link about security problem with the KNX, and it means that we use a cloud system for remote control. And again, our system can be works totally local, without internet, without any clouds, etc. But if you want to have a remote control, it's possible for you if you have a server inside your installation. And again, it's free for you in this license system. It's just one pay and no any each year or each month payments or something like this. Just pay once and you can use it for remote control with a good level of security. But how we can setting up this? It's very simple. Here we have a settings, and by default we have a direct connection, but we can use a remote cloud connection, and it's all. Just only one checkbox, just only one list. Cloud connection, but it required that all projects should be loaded to the panel and the server via our cloud. I mean, you can't use this mode on your emulator, on this your PC. You should use it via our cloud. The next thing is about voice control. And again, it's very easy. For now, we support voice control from Alexa and Google Home. You can add a driver for example, Google Home network. And here we have some example for equipment. And we can add a sub-device like a switch, clock, HVAC, or for Amazon Alexa, we have another one, another devices, the same way, but with dock station. And as I know, after in two releases, there will be another devices like a Blinds here. And actually, that's all. We have documentation about this process. It's not so, oh, yes, we have here best practice, as I said, and in best practice, it was editing schedule on the control panel. It was about best practice. And of course, we have documentation works with voice control, and we have documentation step by step, how we can use it with our equipment. How we can connect it, how we can use it in real installation, what is how it will be in your license system, all of this here, step by step with the screenshots. I think it's not so complicated. Okay, the next thing about license system. Oh, one more thing about best practice. As you can see here, we have some examples for event log. For example, if you have some alarms, some log of alarms, and you store some incident in your database, you can visualize this data to in the panel. Browser Registry Pro, iRidium for SAP telephony, IP cameras, and DVR, and shared data on the server, and a lot of different functions for FTP server, etc. Please use it without any limitation from outside. Okay, about license system. I have an account here. And of course I have a calculator again. It looks like yesterday. KNX and the KNX integration server. And of course, we have here some visualization. Yeah, for KNX, we offer visualization iRidium server UMC. or you can use it on Raspberry Pi, or you can use it like a software. And of course, it's about panels. Like yesterday, we discussed it with the slots, with the panels, etc. And next things about drivers, and next things about tags with this package. And what it means tags. On our studio, for each project, we have total tags. For example, here, 884. And if we have some driver with a text, what does it mean text? Text is a feedback. This is a command. It's not a feedback. This is free for you. But if you have a feedbacks, you will use it on the server, and you can disable this tag. And now you can't use it in your project. And of course, for now, you have another way for total text. It's about license system. And again, one server, it means that one license. Okay, about GS, we discussed it yesterday. And again, we have a lot of different GS driver for server, and you can use it. Please feel free with it. Technical support, documentation, and courses. On our website, we have online courses again. The next course for i3 Pro will be available in October 5, 4 weeks. This is a certification course. I mean, you will have a certificate, and you will have additional discount to silver dealer status, and you will have one new interface design, and the retail price for this design is 800 USD. Okay, and about support. For support, we have a documentation, and for support, we have an email. Feel free, use it. Well, and now we have some question. Question. Your explanation about the time server inside the iRidium server makes it already clear to me. It's a idea to hook it up to external time server. Yes. Okay. NTP server subject. Does this mean any power cycle will not change the clock cycle? Yes. Because iRidium server has a battery inside. It will be okay. Okay. Other products. For other products, we have one interesting product for you for KNX. This is a KNX home server. KNX home server, it's a very simple product with a prepared visualization. And it means that you can make a smart home in the fast way, just one day and it's all. It's really, really fast. But of course, it has some limitation, because this limitation is only KNX and cameras and some SAP server can be used in this installation. Not other protocol, not a lot of different devices. For now, in this, the last release was added Amazon Alexa voice control. It can be used on this product too. And additional things, it was about control for Sonos system and for Samsung TV. In nearest future, will be added some another AV system like Yamaha, etc. But for now, available with limits with devices. But it's very fast, very easy, and maybe it will be valuable for your project, for not so big project. And additional offer for this product. We can send this product with this server for you for testing without any additional payments. And for that, you should use our, please contact with us via email, and we can make it possible for you. If it will be valuable for you, you will pay for the license and the real equipment, etc. Actually, that's all. If you have some questions, please use our chat. It was about iRidium Academy, and thank you. And we have one, oh no, perfect, thank you. And if you have some question, please text plus, because I will know that some people have a question and I will wait you. And for other attendants, please rate this webinar from 0 to 10, when 10 is a maximum rate, how it was interesting and valuable for you. And if it was not so interesting, please make a text, a question, why, how we can make it more interesting, how we can make it more valuable for you. And thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And of course, recorded will be available for you after these days. Thank you from Spain. Thank you from Russia. Okay, if you haven't any question, thank you again. Goodbye. Thank you.